What is up guys, welcome back to another Oregon Trail devlog. Today we have a lot of stuff to cover, so let's get straight into it. The first thing I had planned was decorating the map, because currently there was only a single town and river. So I started off by making some simple assets like some cacti and rocks, and then using a script to fill the map with them, with each object having a random orientation and size. I made sure the assets weren't too complex, because eventually there would be thousands of them, which meant they needed to basically only consist of cubes and such. I also added this big tree to the Kansas River crossing, since it was in the original game and I think it acts like a landmark almost. I decided to also optimize it, since it would be a pain to do it later. Pretty much all I did was disable queries, collision, shadows and touches from the smaller parts, whilst making sure the collisions and shadows only remained on the bigger parts, so that the shadows and collisions will still look somewhat okay. After I filled the area with these objects, it definitely started looking more alive, but it still felt really empty, so I decided to add a train station. The train station is where all of the players spawn, and it will also most likely be the first thing the player sees, so I made sure to give it my best. I was definitely satisfied with the result, and I think it looks great. I also optimized the entire building by reusing as many parts as possible. Next, I added some mountains to the sides of the map and placed a couple of tunnels in them as well, which I connected with a railway. After that, I remade the general store, since, let's be honest, it looked absolutely horrendous before. I'll probably remake all of the classic buildings from the original game as well. I also added a loading screen, which has this retro look on it that I think looks quite nice. After this, I just lost all of my motivation somehow and stopped working on the game. Month after month passed and I started forgetting about the game whilst working on newer projects. One day I just started forcing myself to work on the game again, and all of a sudden I got a huge motivation boost, which granted me to start grinding away. I started off by reformatting all of my scripts and rewriting a lot of them with optimization kept in mind. Alright, that's it. That's enough of the montage. Let's get on with the video. I was really happy in the end, since I was able to organize everything and keep my motivation up. I also started using a networking module called ByteNet to make huge improvements on the networking. The next major system I started working on was the inventory system. I had to make my own inventory system, since Roblox inventory didn't have a limit on how many items you can hold, which was critical for me. I'm not really happy with the inventory system, and I'm definitely going to be replacing it with a newer one, maybe in the next devlog, who knows. I also made my own water system, since I didn't really like the module I was using before. I got inspiration from Wingman 8's Galleon's game and pretty much copied it from there. Now the player and oxen can drown in the rivers as well. After getting tired of making systems, I decided to make something simple, like a main menu and intro. I tried out this retro green GUI style, which was quite monotone, but I didn't like it, so I went back to this greyish style. I'll definitely replace the main menu with something better eventually, but this will do for now. I also added this little cutscene for if you play the game for the first time. I still have to model the train though. Now that the main systems needed for the first part of the map were done, I was able to start working on newer features. But before I could start making the first fort, I needed to add the Big Blue River crossing, which was easy enough. I pretty much just copy-pasted the Kansas River and changed some settings for it. Also, I just wanted to tell you guys that the final map won't look this pathetic. It's just for testing purposes right now. Anyways, now that the Big Blue River crossing is out of the way, I can start working on the first ever fort, Fort Kearney. Before I start working on the fort system, I made a quick Trello board so I can be somewhat organized whilst making my game. The fort system itself is quite simple. There are two types of forts, government and outlaw forts. Government forts only give access to players who have no bounty on them. You can pay off your bounty at any government fort as long as you have enough cash. If you get inside the fort whilst having a bounty on you, you will get a trespassing charge, which makes your bounty even higher. And as an added bonus, the guards will also open fire on you. If you get inside the fort legally, you can save your progress, and whilst we're talking about progressing, I might as well tell you how progressing will work in the game. You can save your progress at any fort that you meet the requirements for. Once you save your progress, you can leave the game and come back another day to continue your journey. If you die on the journey, all of your progress will be reset and you'll have to start at the beginning. This applies to quitting whilst in combat as well. Inside government forts, you'll usually find shops and bounty boards as well. I haven't implemented the shops yet, but I have implemented the bounty boards. Here's how they work. Bounty boards will choose 3 random players who have a bounty and put them on a board. Any player can pick up the bounty and hunt down the target for a nice cash bonus. If you kill someone who has a bounty, you won't get a murder charge, but cash instead. Your bounty will increase if you do illegal activities like killing people or their oxen and trespassing. You know, everyday activities. Outlaw forts are very similar to government forts, but they just have a lot less features. You can save your progress in outlaw forts only if you have a bounty on you. Usually there aren't any shops or bounty boards in outlaw forts. Most forts and other landmarks will have a save zone placed in them, so that you can rest and regain health without having to worry about getting shot. Every fort will also have a gate that only opens if you meet the requirements to enter them. For example, if you have a bounty of 25 on you, the gates on all government forts will close until you get rid of the bounty. Anyways, that's enough gibberish. I started off by modeling the buildings that were in the main game and then adding some personal touches, like walls, bounty boards and a checkpoint booth. After that, I had to make a guard NPC. I couldn't find any clothes for him in the marketplace, so I decided to make my own and I think it looks quite alright. After giving him some clothes so that he wouldn't be naked, I gave him a rifle, which you can use to kill any trespassers. I also decided to make him angry if he detects a trespasser, and also face the trespasser, which resulted in this bug. Now that I was done with the government fort, all I had left was the outlaw fort. I started off by making some bushes and trees, which I can use later on to hide the fort from plain sight. Right now they're just placed randomly, so I can test out some stuff. The fort itself doesn't look that appealing yet. It only consists of a natural mountain barrier, a gate, some tents, some logs and a campfire. The guards, or in this case bandits, function the same as regular guards, they just look different. I was able to find this decent looking jacket for them, which sort of matches the style I'm going for, and after all of the building was done, I added some cameras for each checkpoint so that you can see where you left off after you join back. I also implemented data saving in the game, so I wouldn't have to deal with that later on. But yeah, that's everything I did in this devlog. I'm sorry for the long wait, but hopefully the longer video makes up for it. I can't make any rough estimates on when the next devlog will come out, since I have exams coming up. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, then leave a like and subscribe, as it helps me out a lot. Or if you have any suggestions for features, Easter eggs or secrets, then comment them down below. I also wanted to thank you guys for the support of the last video, as it definitely gave me a lot of motivation to work on the game. I sometimes show sneak peeks of the progress on my community tab, so if you're interested in that, you can check it out. And I'll probably make a Discord server if enough people are interested in the project eventually. Anyways, see you later.